Hello there guys, and welcome back to What If Deku was the reincarnation of KURAMA. And like always, a small recap is needed. So last part, USJ was attacked. Luckily Izuku was able to warn Aizawa, but still they had to fight. Aizawa was a bit hurt by Shigaraki's decay, but after he summoned the Numu, Izuku intervened using his Sage mode and they were able to hold off the Numu until All Might show up, forcing the villain to escape. After that the rest of the heroes shows up, then they were taken back to UA. And I think that's it for the recap, let's continue. So currently Izuku is staring at all the teachers, especially Aizawa, since he wants answers, especially about him hiding the truth, or some of it, and his Sage mode. So you know why you are here, right? Izuku nod. Good. So what was that power? You called it Sage mode? Izuku nod once again. To put it in layman's term, it's a power up. It makes me stronger, faster, more durable. On top of that, it gives me a 6th sense, or in my case, a 7th sense. 7th sense, they ask? Yeah. My quirk allow me to feel, or to sense, negative emotions. Hatred, greed, envy, you name it. Sage mode, on the other hand, allow me to feel everything around me. The best way I can describe it is like seeing but without your eyes. The teachers give him a puzzled look. Better explanation, You know how somehow you space out and remember something, and you feel that you are there? They nod. Just like that. So that's how you know how far All Might was. Aizawa add, Izuku nod. Then he asked why did he lie, and Izuku pointed out that was an ambush, so someone saw this out. So there is 3 possibilities. Yesterday when they attacked the gate and the alarm went off, they were able to sneak in and get the information about the USJ, and that is less likely because of US security. Nizu nod at that. Secondly, a member of the faculty is working with this new group. The heroes gasp, but Izuku cut them off, and before you ask, it's not one of you, I'm sure of it. How, they ask? Izuku just grinned. When I told Aizawa to call the heroes and wait for a bit, it was a test. If someone is working with them, he will call them and tell them that the heroes are coming, so they will cancel the attack. On top of that, they didn't know that All Might was still in UA because he was tired. Izuku just looked at All Might with deadpan expression. All Might laughed sheepishly and avoided his gaze. Back to the point, it's not one of you, but still, we have a traitor. Everyone gets serious at that. Then Nizu asks, and the third one? Izuku got more serious. Somehow, a student is working with them. That is very offensive, young Midoriya, All Might said. But do you have any proof? Izuku shook his head. Like I said, these are possibilities. We can rule out the first one, but we still have the other 2. Everyone stood quiet for a few minutes. Anyway, I think we're done here. So Midoriya, thank you for coming, and thank you for your quick thinking. Izuku just grinned and nod. And one more thing. If you are going to put my Sage mode on my file, try to not put the cons of my technique. The cons, they ask, except for Aizawa. You mean that you have to stay still for a bit? Aizawa asked. Izuku nod. It is one of the weaknesses of the perfect Sage mode. I need to stay still to gather energy. Gather? They ask. And Izuku explained how Sage mode work. I'm not going to explain it, everyone know about it if you watch the series. So wait, you call it perfect, so there is an imperfect form of it? Like I explained. If you can find the perfect balance between the 3 energies, you will unlock the perfect Sage mode. But if I don't gather enough energy, I will not step into the form. If I gather too much, I will turn into a stone. Everyone stood quiet. Come again? Yeah, I kinda figured out a while back after trying it. A few spots on my arm turned to stone. He's lying through his teeth, by the way. Luckily, I have a decent healing factor, but still I did have to wait a couple of days to fully heal, or regenerate my lost skin. One thought was in all the heroes' head. Talk about a side effect. So this problem will not occur again? Izuku shook his head. The heroes breathed a sigh of relief. They don't want to explain to Izuku's mother why her kid turned to stone. Then they told him to go. Izuku nodded. But he started thinking, he could have told them about his shadow clones and his transformation jutsu, but he quickly dismissed it, because truth be told, he doesn't trust them that much. The part of KURAMA is telling him to not trust humans, well, to an extent, but he will reveal another one of his powers, soon enough. So after everyone was given a couple of days to rest and for UA to reinforce their security, Aizawa informed them about the UA Sport Festival and he gave them 2 weeks to prepare. And Izuku used every second of it. He's trying to recreate a few of the techniques from his old life. On top of that, he did have to make a small speech since he got the first place in the UA entrance exam. So we skip forward to the day of the sport festival. All the first years are gathered together and they're waiting for midnight. Of course, she did have to show up with style, but then she called for Izuku. He made his way beside her, and he stood quiet for a couple of seconds. I won't bother with the long speech, because all of us knew why we are here. Because this year we proved that we are a cut above the rest. From thousands of participants, only us were able to pass. But there is only one place for the number one, and I'm going for it. And if you're just like me, then he smirked, and he released a bit of killer intent. Come at me with everything you got, because I will. At first the students were a bit shaken up about the killer intent, but they quickly gathered themselves, and they have different reactions. Some of them shout at him that they will win, others smirks, just like him, and others, Todoroki, have a passive face. Izuku smirks seeing this. He looked at them each one by one until his eyes locked with someone, and Izuku stood there, his smirk gone, and he can feel his blood boiling. And he unintentionally released a wave of killer intent, much more denser than previous one. It only lasted for a second, but everyone can see a massive yellow fox with red eyes looking at them. Back in the teacher's booth, everyone are temporarily immobilized by Izuku's killer intent. They understand why he did it the first time, but the second time was not called for. But all might catch on that Izuku is still looking at the crowd. He follows his gaze and his eyes widen. Nizu, why did you let him in? Who? Nizu asked, snapping from his shock from the killer intent. Him, he pointed. Katsuki Bakugo. You know what he did. I'm pretty sure you know about his questionable behavior and why he was expelled in his last school, right? Yes, I know, Nizu replied calmly, but I don't want that potential to be wasted. And his parents, mostly his mom, almost begged me to give him a chance, even though I felt some hesitation in her voice. And at that very moment, Izuku somehow looked at them, and the teacher's gulp. His eyes are no longer green. They are blood red, and Nizu, deep inside of him, his animal instinct is telling him to run and hide, because he just angers someone or something far, far stronger than him. All Might sighed and put his hand on his face. No, Nizu, you didn't give him a second chance. You just want a bloodbath. Then he explained the history between Izuku and Bakugo. And that's only 1 year, and Izuku is keeping the rest for himself. And judging from his bloodlust, we are only scratching the surface. And all of us know how strong Izuku is. I don't want to say it, Nizu, but what will happen next will be on you. And All Might said it in serious voice that made the teachers gulp. Back in arena, Izuku is clutching his fist so hard that he's bleeding, especially since Bakugo is smirking at him. I hold back for a whole year, hoping that this bastard will not get here. Then he turned around. Let's just hope he will not hurt anyone. But knowing him, that would be wishful thinking. And after this race, I will come to talk to you, Nizu. And for Nizu, a shiver went down his spine. So everyone get ready. Of course, Kasuane did notice the change of Izuku's behavior, but they're still a bit shaken up from his killer intent, so they decide to talk to him after the race. So just like the anime, when the counter reached 0 and everyone raced toward the tunnel, Todoroki freezed it, and the same people that managed to escape in the anime did also here. Then suddenly, a blur passed by them, and everyone can see that he's glowing a bit with orange color. Soon he reached the first place and he's getting ahead of everyone. This encouraged Todoroki to do better and enrage Bakugo, and that was Izuku's plan, to make sure that he's away from everyone. He quickly dispatched of the 1-point robot that was in front of him, and soon he encountered the 0-point robots. He doesn't want to waste any time on them, so he quickly formed a big Rasengan and compressed it a bit, and he literally went through the 0-point robot. Then he continued forward. The canyon was nothing for him. Then he heard President Mike yelling about the minefield. He put his hands in front of him. With a simple gesture, he created a funnel in front of him, and he started getting faster and faster, and he was able to run through the minefield. Each time a mine exploded, he's far away from it. And soon he reached the finish line. He managed to stop himself by using a massive gust of wind to counteract his speed. Everyone cheered for him, but he was too busy staring at Bakugo. Bakugo is fuming and letting out small explosions. But he's not charging in because Izuku is letting out a little bit of killing intent toward him. They kept staring at each other for a bit, then Izuku turned around and walked away. He have a certain mouse to talk to. All Might seeing this, he sighed. Prepare yourself. Prepare for what? Then the door burst open and they stare in shock. Izuku is standing there, but his eyes are glowing red. He made his way toward Nizu and stand in front of him. Don't play dumb, you know why I am here. So I'm going to ask a simple question. Why? And Izuku growled the question. His voice got deeper, almost demonic. Nizu kept a natural face, but inside he was a bit scared. I just didn't want his potential to go to waste. Potential? Izuku growled once again. You know what he did. And that was only 1 effing year. I know there's people that can read minds and copy memories, so I could have easily released the rest. I did not go nuclear because I don't want backlash to reach his parents, so I settled with only banning him from becoming a hero and learning how to fight. And you wasted all my efforts, and everyone can see that Izuku is getting agitated by the second. His nails grew and his canine become sharper. Midoriya, calm down. Don't worry, we have everything under control. Izuku scoffed. Under control? As if. Then he smirked. Let me enlighten you on what will happen next. That bastard will basically torture anyone that he will fight against. He will use excessive force, even if it was not necessary. Then he got in front of Nizu's face. And when, not if, when he hurt someone that I care about, especially my classmate, I will be repaid by kind. Then he stand up straight. But maybe, just maybe, I will be wrong. And Izu said it with so much sarcasm that even an idiot can feel it. But if I wasn't, then he gets serious. Him and you will reap the consequence. Principal Nizu. Then Izuku turned around and walked away, leaving a group of stunned teachers. Except All Might, he just sighed. I told you so. You know what they say, Nizu? Don't poke a sleeping dragon. And this time this dragon is a fox, and he holds deep grudges. And before you ask, yes, he could have hurt Bakugo badly and dealt with him permanently without anyone noticing. On top of that, he was the main target of Bakugo. I am #1 hero, yes, I am the symbol of peace. But from the stories and what I saw in those videos, and maybe there is more because you don't know the full truth, I'm actually surprised this young Midoriya was able to hold himself back and actually called for the heroes to do their job. He could have easily took matters into his own hands, but he decided to do the right thing and called us. And I just hope that he will have enough mind fortitude to not go fully berserk on Bakugo. Back at Izuku, he made his way toward his classmate. He also noticed that everyone is glaring at him. He asked them what's going on. He was busy. So he explained the point and how he have 1 million. So to keep it simple, the teams are still the same. Sure, they're still a bit reluctant to work with Bakugo, since they don't know him, and Kirishima really want to work with Izuku, but he just went with it, or it's just me being lazy. Meh, I don't care either way. So when Midnight Yell began, some teams charged at Izuku's team, mainly Bakugo and Todoroki, and Izuku is having none of it. He doesn't want to hurt his friends and classmate, so he created a massive tornado around him and his team, forcing everyone to stay away from them, from the fear of getting thrown away. Bakugo of course called Izuku a coward, but Izuku did not reply. He kept his focus on maintaining the cyclone. He apologized for his classmate. Because of him they are not able to participate, but they shrugged. They still have the finals to prove themselves. Izuku smiled and nodded, but he still glanced at Bakugo. The two lock eyes, and everyone close to him can feel the bloodlust radiating from him. Word of advice, he said to his classmate. If you are going to fight him, be careful. He will not be merciful, and he will not act like a hero. They understand and nod. After that, they were given some time to rest, and they announced the fights. First off, Izuku vs Shinso, and Ojiro did warn Izuku about his mind control. Izuku thanked him, and now he's staring at Shinso. Of course, he started taunting him. At first, he started telling him how he's lucky to have a good quirk. And then he started mocking his classmate, since that didn't work. Izuku's eyebrow did twitch a bit. He grew confined of class 1A. All of them have the different reason to become a hero, but they genuinely want to help others. Back to the fight, Izuku kept walking towards Shinso, and Shinso was getting desperate. His tricks are not working on Izuku. He just kept this massive grin on his face, taunting him. So when he got close, he throws a punch. Izuku easily dodged it, then he punched him in the stomach, making him bend forward. Izuku quickly swept his feet, then he threw him over his shoulder out of the arena. He was declared the winner. Then Izuku spoke. The thing that you said about me born with a good quirk, you're half right. Half? He asked. Yeah. My quirk only manifested 2 years ago. Shinso and the rest's eyes widened. You mean? Yes. I'm a very,
very late bloomer. And my part of town where I grew up are not too kind to quirkless people. So I don't want to say that you didn't suffer, but comparing your suffering to mine, you're not even close. On top of that, your quirk is very useful. On top of that, I don't believe of the saying that there is a villainous quirk. Just because you have mind control doesn't make you or your quirk villainous. And everything can be described as a villain if you look at it in a certain way. For example, Endeavor. His flame can literally burn someone alive until there's only ashes. All Might, the #1 hero, can kill you with just one punch. Heck, just a simple hammer that someone used to build or to nail nails can kill someone if you know how to use it. Shinso just looking at him wide-eyed, and everyone else are just silent, absorbing what he's saying. And he's right. Then he got close and whispered to his ear. By the way, your quirk really resembles Eraserhead. It's powerful, but it have a lot of restraints. So if you can, try to make him teach you something or how to fight. Don't worry, I will put a good word for you. And Izuku smirked. Shinsu looked at him for a few seconds, then he chuckled a bit. You're a weird one, you know that? Yeah, so I've told. Then the two part ways, with Shinsu having a new perspective about his quirk. So the fighting went on, and it was just as canon, except for the fight between Bakugo and Oraka. He was way more aggressive than canon. Even Aizawa did not defend him as much as canon. But what did catch his eye is Izuku. Even though for a normal person he looked fine, but for Aizawa and his experienced eyes, and he can see that Izuku is upset and agitated. At first he thought it was because of Oraka's fight, but when he catch the glare that he sent toward Bakugo, and Bakugo sent it back, he put 2 and 2 together and realized that this Bakugo is the person that Izuku hates. And so far he can only hope the thing doesn't escalate. But deep down he knows that things will turn bad really quick. So after a bit it's time for round 2, and Izuku is going against Todoroki. But in his way he was blocked by Endeavor. He told them to try and force Todoroki to use his quirk because it's his purpose to defeat All Might. Izuku just laughed at Endeavor and called him a coward for forcing something on his son. Just because I'm too weak to do it myself. Endeavor got enraged about disrespect. He turned around to teach this brat a lesson. So he took his face back and turned around, but he froze when he saw Izuku in front of him, and Izuku clawed his face from above his right eye and he stabbed at his cheek. On top of that he used a bit of his chakra to cauterize the wound instantly. Endeavor screamed in pain, and he glared at Izuku with one eye. Izuku glared back and his eyes are red. This is your only warning, Endeavor. I am not a pushover like everyone else just because you're #2 hero. Push me and I will put you down. You know what I did against the Nobu, and he was built to beat All Might. And last time I checked, you're not stronger than All Might. You're nowhere near his level. Endeavor gritted his teeth. Count yourself lucky. I did not take your eye. But this is your warning. Your last warning. Try to make Todoroki as your pawn ever again, and I will make sure that your dream of becoming #1 stay a dream for the rest of your pathetic life. And to solidify his claim, Izuku let out a lot of killer intent toward him, actually forcing him on one knee, and for a brief second, Endeavor can only see a gigantic fox in front of him. What are you? Me? I'm just someone to try and become a hero. A good one. But push me too far, and I will show you what a demon can do. Then Izuku turned around, leaving a terrified and speechless Endeavor. So Izuku made his way toward the arena. At first, Todoroki did not use his flames, so Izuku kept dodging. So after a bit, Izuku had enough, and with a burst of speed, he was able to land some hits on Todoroki, forcing him on his knees. So that's all you have? Todoroki is gasping for air. Then he looked at Izuku and smirked. No, I was just waiting for you to actually use your quirk against me. Izuku froze. You knew? He nodded. I saw you change in the USJ, even though you were far away. So if you want me to go all out, you do the same. Izuku smirked. Very well. Izuku was covered with smoke and revealed his true form. Satisfied? He asked. Todoroki snapped out from his shock and nodded. Then Izuku charged at him, and he's much faster. Todoroki is instantly on the back foot, even though in several occasions he tried to push Izuku away using his flames. At first they were working, until Izuku powered through one of them and punched him square in the face, sending him skidding, and he was able to stop himself using his ice. Well, Todoroki, since you show me your fire, let me show you mine. He took a deep breath and let out a massive wave of flame toward him. Todoroki was shocked for a few seconds, but he quickly formed a gigantic wall of ice in front of him, but it quickly started to melt. How? He asked.
You're not the only one that did inherit half of his quirk from his parents. So he trained you how to use it? Todoroki asked. Izuku shook his head. Like I said, my quirk only manifested 2 years ago. On top of that, I never met my dad. Heck, I don't know how the guy looks like. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be. Word of advice. People that don't support you in your lowest don't deserve to be in your life. And they're basically nobodies. And you don't care about nobody. Izuku smirked. Todoroki smirked a bit. You're weird, you know that? President? Izuku shrugged. Anyway, it looks like you're almost out of steam, so... let's finish it once and for all, shall we? Todoroki nodded and used both of his quirks at the same time. Then he launched a massive iceberg at Izuku, and Izuku used his wind to cut it to pieces. And at the same time, both of them used their fire. And because of the sudden change of temperature, a massive explosion happened. Covered the area with dust, leaving everyone watching, asking who won. And you guys have to wait to see who won. I know, cliffhanger, but it's only 21 minutes, close to 22. So hope you guys enjoy this part, and if you do, drop a like, it does help me quite a lot. And if you're new, subscribe, and see you guys soon. Peace.